How do everybody? So I've got quite an interesting story here, which has just caught my eye, and I think is a great example of why we really should be coming down much harder on people who break laws in this country. Unfortunately, extreme times do require, in my opinion, extreme responses to deal with them. So we'll get on with this story in a minute, and I'll explain to you just why I think we need to bring the birch back. So, illegal immigrant is jailed after being found in the UK despite being deported, get this, 5 times. And he'll be kicked out again when he's served his time. Now, I've got a feeling that this individual here will return to the UK for number 6. However, it is my profound opinion that I do believe that if this man was brutally flogged, I don't just mean 3 or 4 times, I mean absolutely lashed like it was the Romans doing it, he would not come back to the United Kingdom, and it would send a clear, I will repeat, a clear, unobfuscated reason as to why people should behave themselves when in this country. I am telling you now, you would see crime plummet and illegal immigration would disappear. So, an illegal immigrant has been jailed after he was found living back in the UK despite being deported 5 times. Lithuanian national Ardrulis Verkauskas, 44, signed a deportation order in March 2015 and was first removed in November of the same year. I know I've probably butchered his name there, but to be honest with you, I don't care about foreign criminals and pronouncing their names correctly. So maybe if he was a decent human being, I'd be a little bit more courteous, but I actually couldn't care less about getting this man's name correct. He kept returning and was subsequently deported again in February 2019, June 2021, May 2022 and August 2023. Well, this is what I'm saying, guys and girls. If this man was whipped within an inch of his life, he would absolutely be reconsidering his life choices once he recovered. And I doubt very much that he'd come back to the UK. Now, would he try his luck in another country? Possibly. But you know what? I couldn't care less because that's not where I live and it's not my country. What other countries choose to do with behind their borders is their business, none of ours. If they just want to keep allowing illegal immigrants to keep returning, that's up to them. I've got absolutely zero tolerance for this sort of thing, and I really do believe that we should be bringing the birch back for these sorts of individuals. Police officers arrested him for an unrelated matter in Peterborough at about 7 p.m. on April 26th this year, so he's a common criminal anyway. I don't know what he's done, but clearly this man is some sort of just habitual offender who just can't help himself. Why do we want him here? Well, in my opinion, we don't. When in custody, he was once again found to be in breach of his deportation. Well, shock horror. On Monday, well, I mean, who's surprised, by the way, that a common criminal, a man who's clearly can't control his baser impulse, is going to keep reoffending and keep coming back into the country. Like, clearly he's going to do it again. Like, absolutely. I mean, maybe we should brand it on his forehead. Illegal immigrant, deport, something like, I don't know. Something like that. So as soon as he's walking around, you can see it on his cheeks. Something. You can see it. We should do that. Maybe we should do that to all illegal immigrants. Brand them on the face. You know, I don't know. Maybe put a tick or something on there. I don't know. A physical feature on them that cannot be removed. Then, because that way, as soon as they come back, oh look, you're an illegal immigrant. Get out, you're gone. People, oh, it's human rights, you can't do that to him. I don't care. You're genuinely confusing me with somebody who cares about those sorts of things. And by the way, I don't believe in human rights. I don't believe that the state bestows human rights on people. If the state can give you rights, they can take them away. Human rights are something that you take yourself. And they're something that are agreed by different groups of people. So what's right in one country and by one group of people isn't right in another country and with another group of people. There is no such thing as universal human rights. And once people start to understand that little fact, life will start becoming a lot more pleasant for all of us. He will be deported for a 6th time once he has served his sentence. PC Tom Todd of Cambridgeshire Police said, I hope this case sends out a strong message that people found to be in breach of deportation orders will be found eventually. Yeah, what are you going to do? Deport him and then he'll come back. What message is it sending out? Oh, nothing. Come back to the UK and you'll get a slap on the wrist. We'll house you, we'll feed you, and we'll look after you in prison until we deport you again, and then you'll come back again. There's no actual consequences for these people whatsoever. So I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm calling him Nobed. Nobed knew full well that he was illegally in Britain and had flouted the order multiple times, so it's not surprising he's been handed a jail term. That is the end of the article. I thought it was going to be more than that. I would like to know what crimes he's actually committed. Now, again, I have absolutely no care about human rights for people like that whatsoever. And people might say, but Dave, we'll never ever get flogging back. It's never going to happen in a million years. Well, I will judo flip that right back at you and say, you know what? Look at what Keir Starmer and Trudeau Castro has been saying. Well, in Canada, and even the mayor of New York, they're all turning on mass immigration. This time last year, people never ever would have said that Keir Starmer would have openly admitted that mass immigration has been centrally organised. In fact, I distinctly remember people like Keir Starmer saying that that was a right-wing conspiracy theory, and it was a lie of the far right to stir up racial hatred, if I remember correctly, or words to the effect of. And yet here we are now. He's actually gone on Parliament. Sorry, not in Parliament, but in an interview, and has openly admitted, and it will be on the record now forever, that mass immigration has been centrally planned by the government. That is not a consider. It's almost like they're admitting that the conspiracy theory of the great population exchange, I don't think I can say the other term for it, for fear of the video getting pinged by the algorithm, some sort of R word, like you place something down but you remove it, the not placement, and then placement, the great not placement, so to speak, it's almost like he's admitting that that's real, isn't it? That's the reading that you could actually get from that it's not a conspiracy theory and it really has been happening. Now, don't get me wrong, Keir Starmer has absolutely no interest in stopping mass immigration. He's just wanting to put the brakes on because the Tories made it too obvious that that's what's happening. Mass immigration is centrally planned and organised. Tony Blair, when he brought it in, was trying to be quiet about it. He wanted to change the population and the face of Britain because it's exactly what the Soviets did. It's why they moved so many people around the Soviet Union. It's part of the Soviet manifesto that in order to effectively control people, you have to disconnect them from the land and you have to displace them. You have to replace them. Because when you have a surrogate population, they don't know what the norms are in that new country and are quite happy for any rules whatsoever to get brought in because they have no spiritual connection with where they live or the place that they now belong, in the same way that an indigenous population does. Magna Carta means nothing to somebody coming from Pakistan or from Fiji or from Brazil. They don't care about Magna Carta. They don't care about the 1,000 years of English history, do they? None of them do. It's nothing to do with them or their people. Why would they care less? So that means that all those sorts of rules and rights, and even though they're not enshrined in law anymore, are still held deeply by the population, the indigenous British. They're still very, very ingrained within us as part of our culture. They don't care about those things getting ripped up and thrown away. And that's exactly why they want to bring in these massive amounts of population. And it's great for business as well, because it undercuts wages. Why invest in expensive research and development and bringing in new technologies when you can just bring in loads of cheap labour instead? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, but with that, so these people, and as I say, Skippy over in Canada, and even the mayor of New York, they're all turning on mass immigration now, all of them. Skippy himself has even said, Fidel Jr., he's actually admitted himself that possibly in the next couple of years, 12 million people will just naturally leave Canada because the visas will run out. Now, will they actually leave? I doubt it. I think what's happening is they've got an election coming up in Canada and he knows that they're screwed. He knows that his goose has finally been cooked because of the problems that have been caused in Canada by mass immigration from cultures that are completely incompatible. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against immigration altogether. There's nothing wrong with, say, 500 people in 1 year moving to the UK from India or Pakistan, and those people get spread out across the entire country. They are naturally going to have to integrate into society. It's an inevitability. But when you're talking about millions of people, and like last year, June, I think it was last year, 1 million people net came into the country, just shy of 1 million. That is completely unsustainable. Absolutely unsustainable amounts of people. Like, no wonder we've got so much civil unrest in this country. No wonder that you can't get to the doctors and the roads are falling to pieces and systems are just breaking down and court dates are taking over a year. And by the way, I'm experiencing that personally myself with the courts at the moment as well. I've not seen my kids for nearly a year. It took nearly 11 months to get our first family court sitting. So this is absolutely affecting everybody in the country. Absolutely everybody. But what can you do? They're just going to keep on bringing more people. And like I say, Labour aren't going to stop it. They're just going to slow it down. They're going to take it down to 300,000 a year. But that's not stopping mass immigration. That's not stopping changing the very actual nature of the population, the very culture of Britain. It's just slowing it down. Just slowing it down. We're just going to put the brakes on the change of it. No, sorry, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that either. He's still a snake in the grass. He still called all the people who protested about Southport far right, and I think he even called them Nazis. May not have done. I could be wrong there, but I'm almost certain he called them Nazis as well. But he definitely called them far right. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. We definitely need to bring back the birch. Unfortunately, guys and girls, we are in extreme times, and I'm afraid we are going to need quite extreme measures to get control of our civilization again. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.